We can see evidence of evolution in all living things throughout our daily lives. The creatures around us are so vastly different. It's only natural for us to be curious about how some of these differences have come about. However, the full subject of evolution can be intimidating. It seems so complicated, so in this video we're going to break down the basics and hopefully give you a decent grasp on the subject. Let's start with the big one. What is evolution? Evolution is a theory, an explanation for a phenomenon that has been observed repeatedly. To be formally considered a theory, it must be well tested and stand on substantial evidence, which we have lots of, thanks to the research done by various people such as Gregor Mendel and Charles Darwin. How exactly does this happen, though? Let's create a hypothetical species to guide you through this. Let's name the species Goo. Here we have a small Goo population, in their natural habitat, the plains. They are prey animals and rely on hiding in tall grass and being able to run quickly in order to survive. Let's look at two specific Goo. These two Goo just created a beautiful baby girl called Dolly, but she looks a little different from her mom and dad. Dolly's mom is square and Dolly's dad is oval. Does this mean they need a paternity test? No! Clearly, Dolly still has some genetic features from her mom and dad, such as her mom's green coloring and her dad's tall ears. It seems like Dolly has a genetic mutation, causing her to be round instead of oval or square. What is a genetic mutation? Well, let's break a few concepts down here. Inside Dolly's cells is a double helix structure called DNA. DNA is the blueprint for how all her other cells are to be built. All of Dolly's DNA dictates her genes. When Dolly's mom and dad created her, their genes are passed down to her through both of their DNA. Sometimes, when this DNA is being passed down, a mutation will occur, causing the DNA to be read incorrectly and create an entirely new genetic expression. Thus, Dolly is round. Dolly's parents aren't too upset by this, since being round will allow Dolly to run much faster. Combined with having tall ears and being green, she has all the ideal features to escape predators. They are very proud of Dolly. Dolly's parents bring her into the general Goo population and are introducing her to everyone. As Dolly is meeting everyone, she hears some rustling with her tall ears, which are perfect for identifying threats. Instinctually, she begins to run, followed by the rest of the group. She is the fastest of the group and is able to find a patch of tall grass to hide in before anybody else. She watches the group trying to escape the predator and notices a few things. The Goo with short ears were the last of the group to identify the threat and were lagging behind the rest. But as long as they had the oval body shape, they were able to catch up to the group and find grass to hide in. The last of the group to find hiding spots were those with square bodies, despite their ear size, as they had the most trouble running away. To Dolly's horror, this last group being chased included her mom. Luckily, her mom is eventually able to escape the threat and hide in the grass as well. Due to her green coloring, she blends in very well with the grass and is able to sufficiently evade the threat. Dolly's dad, on the other hand, despite having hidden time, does not blend in with the grass as well due to his blue coloring. As the predators are scanning the area trying to find their prey, Dolly notices they seem to be picking out the blue Goo from their hiding spots. Eventually, the predators cannot find any more blue Goo and leave. When the group of Goo reconvene, Dolly discovers there are very few blue or square Goo remaining, but luckily she is able to reunite with her parents unscathed. This process is called natural selection and is what leads to a species adapting to their environment. The members of the group that have the most ideal features for survival are more likely to pass on their genes, allowing adaptation to take place. Let's fast forward now. Dolly is all grown up, and she wants to explore the world. She bids her farewells and goes on a journey alone to observe this phenomenon she has discovered. Eventually, she finds another Goo population in a plain on the other side of the woods. This plain is much colder and has an abundance of short blue grass and much less tall green grass. The first thing she noticed about this population is that they have far more blue Goo, as well as a trait she has never seen before. All of these Goo were very small compared to her previous group. Dolly decides to stay with them for a little while to figure out why, and discovers this allows them to hide more easily in the shorter blue grass. Those who were bigger stood out in the short grass. Luckily, Dolly is able to survive easily here too due to her running capabilities, and after a few years she decides to have a family of her own. She falls for a local, charming Goo, and they produce a son together. Their son has taken on Dolly's previous group's trait of being large, as well as her mutation of being round. This is what we call genetic flow. when two populations of the same species reproduce, introducing new traits into a local gene pool. After a few more months of living happily with this group, a new threat presents itself. A brush fire is sweeping across the plains. The entire group must outrun the fire. They run into the nearby woods and hide out for a few hours until the rain puts out the fire. When they return, Dolly first notices that all the grass has burned away. She knows this will take a few months to regrow. As time passes, all the square goo, including her husband, get slowly picked off by predators, as they are unable to outrun them to hide in the nearby woods. This means that the square trait will no longer be able to be passed on. The name of this process is genetic drift, when a specific trait gets entirely wiped out by a chance event. All of these concepts put together is what allows for evolution to occur. The small-scale evolution is called microevolution, which builds up to a much larger scale called macroevolution. Macroevolution is when a species has become so different from itself that it is considered an entirely different species.